Hello and welcome to the Us Weekly Bachelor Recap. It's the finale. I'm Jared Freid. I've been with you every episode. I want to thank you, before we get started, thank you for joining me all season long. You can follow me on YouTube or on Instagram at Jared Freid. If you're in the Boston area, I got shows next week at Laugh Boston. I'm also going to be at Gotham Comedy Club in April, and then Providence and DC and Dallas. So I would love for you to come to a live show. But otherwise, let's start our episode. We come back to the Dome of the Undateables, and we're there with Chris, and he tells us you're going to get a healthy dose of our boy Peter. You're going to hear from Madison. You're going to hear from Hannah Ann. You're going to hear from Barbara. We're set up for a crazy episode where he doesn't even know what's going to happen. And now we go to the show and we find Peter all tucked up and suddenly convinced that Hannah Ann is the one. It's a weird beginning to this show because Peter at no point says, yeah, I got dumped by Maddie and now I'm choosing Hannah Ann. That's not the way Peter positions this engagement. He positions it, and listen, I'm not here to tell you right from wrong. You have parents. You grew up in a home. You weren't raised by wolves. You can make that decision on your own. I'm telling you the house is on fire, and here's how it's burning. Because Peter right now is doing his own PR job. Just like Maddie withheld the information about her virginity. And yes, I was hard on Maddie about that. Not for being a virgin, for withholding the information about being a virgin. I have to be the same amount of hard on Peter. And not just have to, I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you what I feel. Peter leaves out important information. If I was proposed to by my significant other, and I would want to know if 2 days before they were dumped by someone they loved, and this was kind of a decision out of a scrambling moment to not be the loser. I don't want someone convincing themselves into their engagement with me, much like Hannah Ann wouldn't want that. Peter gets the ring from zombie Neil Lane. He gets the tux on. He goes to stand out by the desert for some reason. That's romantic. Chris Harrison waltzes up. Nobody gives bad news quicker and more efficiently than Chris Harrison. When I have bad news for someone, I'm like, you look great today. Have you lost weight? Chris Harrison walks up. He's like, she ain't coming. And he's like, whoa, what? He goes, yeah. This is going to be tough, but go to Ted Bundy's murder shack and go hang out on a bed in there. Peter's first question when Chris Harrison says that she's not coming is, does she know about Maddie? Isn't that telling of all of this? Doesn't that tell you the whole story? If I was to propose to someone, and then my friend goes, hey, she ain't coming, I wouldn't go, does she know about my ex? That's not how a healthy relationship starts. It just tells you that Peter knows that if Hannah Ann knew that Maddie dumped him and now he was about to propose to her based off of, well, I got dumped by one, so this decision's easier, she might not show up for the engagement. That tells you the whole story about how Peter's playing this game. They show Hannah Ann in a car. She's in this Jeep driving through the desert. You see her looking off in the distance like she just picked her nose and she's not sure if she should flick the booger. Chris Harrison comes back into Ted Bundy's murder shack. He looks at Peter and goes, she's actually coming. Wouldn't you look at Chris Harrison and go, hey man, what the f***? You just told me the girl I'm proposing to isn't coming. I called her dad to get his blessing. I went on FaceTime and I held the phone like no one's ever held a phone before. That was weird. Peter held a phone for FaceTime like his hand was one of those mechanical arms that goes down and reaches for the doll in the carnival. Hey, Dad, I want your blessing. The dad's like, who's this? Can I, you? Okay. So now Peter tells Hannah Ann she's the one. He says it very specifically. He's like, you loved me most. And Hannah's shocked. She's like, I can't believe it. What's going on? It felt like Hannah was there for a dumping. She has no idea. And I can't absolve Hannah Ann completely. Wouldn't you ask what happened with Maddie? Wouldn't you go, hey, so what was the deal with the other girl you were dating? Shouldn't that happen? And I'm sure it did in some capacity, but I want to know how Peter explains that. I'm sure of this. Peter did not look at Hannah Ann and go, well, Maddie dumped me and made this whole thing a lot easier. Let's go, time to get married. That's not what happened. Peter then goes home. They go home to their parents. They show the big reunion with Peter's family. They hadn't seen each other in a week, and Barbara reacts like Peter made it off the Titanic. She's like, oh, Peter, you've come home. Bring yourself home to me. She walks in, and Peter's about to tell them, the family, who he's chosen. Okay. To me, The Bachelor is about the contestants. That's what makes the season fun. The last episode becomes about The Bachelor. This happens on The Bachelorette too. It becomes a psychological profile of the person who's running the show the whole season. Because from this point on, the family, we're on the crazy train. We have left Realityville and gone to Emotion Land. Peter looks at the family. The brother is holding hands with the mom, Barbara, as if they're a bubble team waiting to find out if they got into March Madness. They're like, are we in? Did it happen? And Peter's like, I've chosen Hannah Ann. And let me tell you, Barbara reacts to this information in the least healthy way I've ever seen someone react to information in my entire life. She's like, oh my God! Ooh, my daughter is coming home! Peter! It's like, and she reacts, it was like a toddler who wasn't getting a toy at Toys R Us finally being awarded the toy. Barbara's reaction is one that comes from a personal vendetta against Madison. We bring in Peter to the Dome of the Undateables. He comes in. Chris says, you got engaged. Let's see what happens when you and Hannah get back together. Hannah Ann shows up at Peter's mansion or wherever the hell he is. And you could tell right away they're not together. Things have not been going well. You could tell Hannah Ann and Peter weren't together because Hannah Ann showed up like she had 10 vodka sodas at a USC frat party the night before. Her hair's greasy. She's like, okay, let's get this over with. I got other things to do. She shows up. They're like, hey, it's been a while. It's like, yeah, who's ever talked to their fiance that way? Hey, what up, dude? What's it been, like a month? Like that's like every pre-breakup conversation. How you been? Cool. All right, let's talk it out. Peter rambles on in a cry voice that, you know, if you were attracted to Peter, I don't know how you're still attracted to Peter. He's like, blah, 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 blah. He ends it with Hannah Ann. Hannah Ann seemingly is prepared for this ending. She says, you took away my first engagement, which I'm not on the side of that. I don't even know that as a thing. You never forget your first engagement. I made fun of it at my house. My girlfriend seemed to think this was a big deal. I still disagree. Hannah Ann even says, it's time to get my life back on track. What? You're not the president of a law firm, Hannah Ann. You didn't leave a whole life behind to go on The Bachelor, Hannah Ann. You're going to go on spring break. If you can go on spring break and hang out in Punta Cana, there's no life to get back on track. FYI. While Peter is ending it with Hannah Ann, they have the Barbara cam. The Barbara cam is the best thing that's ever happened to this show. The Barbara cam is not a very flattering camera. It is right up on her face. Nobody looks good in this angle. She fills out the whole box. You would have to be 22-year-old Hannah Ann who's had 3 champagnes to fit in that Barbara cam box. I feel for her because she's in that box just, don't ruin. And at one point she's clapping for Hannah Ann like, Barbara, you're the reason Hannah Ann's in this situation. You manipulated your son into making a choice that you wanted. Stop clapping. This is all via your emotional game of chess. Peter does the thing after every guy who ends a relationship. Every guy, when he ends something that he has no reason to end it, he's like, you're amazing. No one's ever loved me like you. I'm nothing. I'm dirt. I'm a loser. I only have 1.5 million Instagram followers. I'll never find a woman again. It's like, okay, just let her go. And Hannah Ann, you could tell, she's like, I've had enough of this. She gets in the Jeep and she's like, talk to the hand because the face don't give a damn. Like she gives some sort of self-empowering moment. Hannah Ann's gone. We come back to the studio. Hannah Ann comes out. Hannah Ann does a fantastic job. It sounded like she rehearsed this at 7,000 brunches with every one of her friends of explaining why she feels wronged. And she's not wrong. She's right. She says you withheld information. I didn't have everything at my disposal. You said things, which all guys do. All guys do this. So Hannah Ann is now connecting with an audience of millions of women. All guys, she says, you said romantic things that you never followed up with in your actions. And that's what guys do. We say things that sound good. You and I should go on vacation. We should do dinner. We should do a vacation. You know what? I've never felt the way I feel about you. You're so amazing. No one's loved me like you do. Guys say these things all the time, and women don't understand that guys like the reaction we get out of you. It also keeps you around for another week of a text conversation where we don't have to dump you. Does this all make sense? So Hannah Ann is airing the grievances of 1 billion women with 1 billion men. She ends her whole speech with, if you want to be with a woman, be a real man, which, like, eye roll from this Bachelor recapper because I get it. She rehearsed the speech was good. She explained the emotional trauma that one is put through when they're led along. I'm with her. Also, Peter did not tell her that he got dumped by Maddie, and that is a lot of the reason he got engaged to Hannah Ann. So I can understand Hannah Ann has a right to give this speech. Her speech was good. It's just a little rehearsed. Hannah Ann is sent off stage. We clap her away. She is now, leading all women's marches. And now it's Chris and Peter. Chris tells Peter he took it upon himself to go to Alabama to talk to Maddie. And it's like, Peter claims he doesn't know about this, but like, wouldn't you look at him and go, what? Like, who gets involved with someone's life this much? If I had a friend that was like, yeah, I got, the engagement's broken up and I'm still kind of in love with this other girl, I'd be like, good luck. I don't know, text her. Like, Chris Harrison goes to Alabama. He sits with Maddie. First, he hands the news to Maddie with blunt force. Maddie's like, so what's going on? He's like, they got engaged. Yeah, they've had sex multiple times. They're in love. No. And so Chris just hands her this information. She's like, oh, whoa, you almost knocked my glass eyelashes off my eyes. All of a sudden, Chris Harrison turns into every old Jewish aunt. But I've been hearing that Hannah Ann and Peter are gonna break up. It's your moment. Come on, Maddie. And Maddie can't even hide how happy she is. She's like, another woman is having a horrible life? Oh, that's so sad for Hannah Ann. It's like, she can't even contain how happy she is that she's kind of the winner in this situation. Chris Harrison tells her the news, and we go back to LA, and Maddie shows Peter's just standing staring at his pool for some unknown weird reason. They claim later on that he was waiting for Chris. I don't know how believable that is. Maddie shows up. Barbara's on Barbara cam. She's just rolling her eyes through this whole thing. I can't imagine having a camera on my face while my greatest enemy is going through a happy moment. Peter and Maddie put their foreheads together like old times. They rub their foreheads. They're like, remember when we used to do this for 7 hours? Remember when I used to rub my forehead against your forehead? Remember when this is as far as we used to get? I've been moisturizing my forehead for months thinking about you. Like, they do that old move. And then they decide, I don't even know what they decide, that they're going to try and date. We come back to the Dome of the Undateables. Chris Harrison sits with Maddie and Peter, and now Thunderdome has begun. Now we get to Maddie and Peter talking it out. Peter says he loves Maddie. Maddie says, we're going to give it a shot, kind of. It's not really explained. And then Barbara is asked what she thinks. Here's what's going on, okay? Barbara, this is all emotional. Here's what happened. Barbara met Maddie. Barbara felt judged by Maddie. Barbara felt that is a narcissist whose kid is the best and brightest thing that's ever happened because she made Peter, okay? The thing she made, Maddie looked at and goes, eh. So now Barbara is personally offended that Maddie, who's was chosen over Hannah Ann, who has told Barbara that she made the most perfect creature on earth. Barbara reminded me of your mom's friend who fights with people in the Facebook comments and doesn't realize everyone can see it. Like, Barbara was acting like someone who didn't know she was on TV. She looks at Maddie, she says, you made us wait 3 hours to see you and then didn't even apologize. She's saying all this, and she looks bad when she says it. She thought all of us would go, 3 hours? Didn't apologize? Which we didn't. We just looked at a bitter woman who didn't get her way. So now she goes on this 3-hour didn't apologize thing, and then she walked in and we didn't get along right away. It was a rocky relationship. Their relationship was never good. One girl gave herself to her, one girl gave herself to my son, and one girl did not. Do you see what is going on here? We have two sides that don't think they're wrong, that think the other one thinks they're better than them. They go, Big Pete Sr., what do you think? And Barbara says something in Spanish to her husband. And we have some translators out there. She goes, say something terrible. Don't make me look bad. She looks at her husband and says that. Loosely translated. Say something bad. Say something and that Peter Sr.'s been hearing that his whole life, his whole marriage. Hey, defend me. Take my side. You ever want to get blown again? That's really what she's looking at. And Peter has to do the very political, well, we never, from the start, there's been a rocky relationship. Peter takes a better route than Barbara, emotional mess, bring her home, took. We end it with two people at a standoff. Chris looks at Peter and Maddie, and basically the show ends as Peter saying, I guess I'll text you later. I guess we'll be in touch. I can tell you this recapper does not think they'll end up together. I think Maddie's going to stay in Alabama and become a religious influencer. Hannah Ann is going to be on catwalks everywhere and doing the normal Bachelor rounds. She'll be on Bachelor in Paradise, and you'll be using her promo codes. Peter, I don't know what he does. If I'm Peter, the only solution to your problem is to go back to Delta, fly around the country, and hopscotch around this great country of ours while answering people who've slid into your DMs in every city. Doesn't seem so bad. That would be my life. I'd be like, ta-ta world, I'll be in the sky now. I'll see you in Cleveland, random DMer. And then we come back and we're going to meet our next Bachelorette. Claire Crawley comes out. We're very excited. I've had a great season here with you, recapping The Bachelor. If you want to follow me, I'm at Jared Freid. You can watch all my Bachelor live streams and my highlights. If you want to come to a live show, I'm touring the country. JaredFreid.com. My next few dates are Boston, New York, Providence, Mohegan Sun, and Dallas, Philly, Raleigh, Tacoma, Spokane. So if you want to come out to a show, JaredFreid.com, at JaredFreid on Instagram. My YouTube, I answer all the commenters, so I'll be down in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. Share this with a friend. Share with coworkers. Hopefully we're back for The Bachelorette. See you next season.